Channel. My name is Brad, Supercoach Pro. Today we are looking at the draft candidates for a debut next season. So my first debut, and I think, and we'll just go order of the draft, is probably Jagger Smith. I think Laywell needs a little bit more time for like a bigger preseason, considering he's never really done one. He's been focusing on cricket and whatnot, and had injuries throughout the season as well. So I think they might ease him into it at least. Sutherland, I think, a bit of a smaller body than the other ones, so he might debut a little bit later potentially, but who knows? North have been pretty good with blooding rookies, so he could be one. But the first one out of this lot I'm actually looking at is Jagger Smith. I think he will debut round one for me, and Sid Draper as well. I think those three in line with Levi Ashcroft. With the picks that we go for on our rookie bench, or even to start, like surely you're going to start Ashcroft and Jagger Smith on field, even Sid Draper potentially. Smiley, I reckon he's not really sub risk being so damn big and tall. You wouldn't think maybe sub off potentially if he doesn't got the tank for it. But he's one that I think as well could debut early. Lombard, I think, gets an early crack at it. Just probably more of a worse role though. I don't think he slots straight into that midfielder. I reckon he'll go like a high half forward as we saw Jake Rogers did last year. Taru, don't really want to pick too many key position players. Isaac Kako, I think, gets an early gig in the forward line that Essendon do have. The other players I'm looking at more back end of the draft. So we're looking at Riley Bryce. He's been recruited as like a VFL rookie. Then you've got, who's the Doggies player as well, that Sam Davison was playing in Richmond's side. So I think he's a forward. He's that 191 sort of player. Got VFL Young Player Award there. So I think players like this will really come in handy. Bryce, we can see, played for Werribee, born in 2000. So what does that make him? Makes him 25 next season. So, and the other one, who was the other one that was a bit of a faller? There's a few sliders in here as well. I'm not sure if it was Anderson. I've heard about it a little bit as well. Could he do something potentially early on? Who knows? But there's some sliders here for sure that could be an absolute pick. But you don't want to spend too much coin on these players in the top 10 because they're normally between that 140k and that 210 range. Obviously, if you're well or you're like 220k just about, and so on. So I want to avoid Sutherland as well. I'd rather go for teams that I know need these players like Jagger. Carlton need a Jagger. Sid, well, Adelaide definitely need another midfielder like him. Levi, he can probably step straight into the squad. We've heard even last year's premiership team, they kept saying as well. Smiley's big enough to do it. We're going to be probably too contested, Richmond. I would need some outside game, but just on their draft profiles as well, you can see, I'll start with Smiley. He's been likened to Cribs, I think purely just based on size, but 8 games, averaging 26 disposals, and then 2 games in the under 18s nationals, averaging 21. But you can see he likes to tackle, 3.5 tackles, and does mark the ball for a midfielder. So good footy IQ, clean hands, stoppage craft, versatility, and size. So maybe he has multiple roles in Richmond's game plan. Maybe he starts off as a high half forward flank and works his way in to stoppages here and there. Then you've got Riley Bryce from Werribee. Please load screen, don't do this to me. He's one more that could get an early gig too. Like, you don't normally recruit players that are 24, 25 years old and not debut them early on. The rebounding defender, and previous years played midfielder forward. So there might be a role for him as well in St Kilda's lineup, you'd think, although they do have a million halfback flankers like Richmond do. But grand final, 23 disposals, 21 kicks. So he's more of a kick guy. You can't base it on just that one game, but definitely likes the kick. So could definitely be really handy Supercoach wise. Let's say too much else about him. Not really. Sam Davison, I know, played really well for Richmond's VFL. So I'm looking at him as a sneaky forward. Aerial ability, running capability. So that's good. The Doggies there, scoreboard impact, rate of development, size and rawness, a little bit skeptical. That's fine though. So here's one I'm looking at. I know he played really well for the Tigs. 26 goals across 17 games. So he's something we could see. And that would be like your basement 102K or even 117K sort of players. Isaac Kako would play a forward role, so probably got one of the worst scoring abilities you'd think. But it's something to look at anyway. You still need rookies somewhere. Small forwards aren't the best place to go, but you know that sometimes they can have big games. They kick 4 or 5, and yeah, he's one to look at definitely. What's this other one? Jagger Smith, obviously. These him and Finno Sutherland fairly small in comparison to your Smileys and your Laywalls, so maybe they are a bit of a sub risk potentially, but you think they just rack it up all day, so it won't really matter too much. He's actually got good tackle numbers too. That's pretty good, averaging 28 disposals in the Coach Talent League, 3.5 tackles, and then what in the under nationals, 24 disposal averages. Good clearance player too, by the looks of it. Clean hands, agility, vision, decision making, accumulation. So probably not the player they kind of needed. To be fair, I mean they've already got accumulation players in that midfield, but whatever, it's whatever for them. And then Sid Draper, the last of those midfielders, probably a little bit more exciting in my eyes, anyway. What does he have for his numbers? Anyway, we know Adelaide will use him. So analysing agility, clean hands, leadership, professionalism, speed, work rate. So this is probably the guy they're going to use in the midfield. You'd think durability and product. Yeah, okay, interesting. But despite that, they're the few rookies to look at. I'm sure there'll be like a clear rookie watch come pre-season. We see some of these guys perform, and if they're best 22 and you watch their match A and B teams and you find out the match notes, who was in the A team, who was in the B team. So obviously there's plenty of months to look for these players. Langford, does he get an early gig? I mean, Melbourne went after him, obviously. Xavier injured. Taj Houghton's not playing until like mid-year. He's injured. Jonty Ford, I think Richmond give a go early on anyway, not when they've got other key forwards that have been developing like Fawcett and players like that. Joe Berry might get a gig early on, you'd think, Port Adelaide. Small forward there. All the teams went for him. Bo Allen could get a debut, you'd think, potentially. Trainer's one from Richmond, I think, could get an early debut as well. And there might be a few other players. Sims, I don't think, will debut early. But there's definitely quite a number of players. I'm more looking, like I said, at these players that have, had a few years in the VFL system, because I think they're really handy Supercoach players more than your top 10 picks, because they've just got the numbers on the boards in the level below. So I'll be looking at that, and if there's any late ones in the pick 60s, 70s, they're pretty cheap as well. So I'd rather save 20, 30K and use that 20, 30K on primos instead. So that is the end of that video. It's a bit of more of a quick one. I won't do an in-depth one too much this start of the season, because you don't want the videos to drag out too long. But that is part 3. So I've done 3 videos today. I'll try to do some more next weekend and the weekend after that, and see what we can conjure. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed all 3 of these videos. Leave a like and sub if you haven't already. And leave a comment if you've missed these videos, and do miss the regulars that and do tune in. One of them's already commented on a video just earlier on. So it's nice to see you back here on the channel. And like I said, if anyone wants to do some content together about anything in particular, or even go on a live stream on a Sunday night, we can do that. I'll be doing Sunday night live streams regularly again next season. That's probably the biggest focus for me. Still doing my Supercoach preview team, my reviews for every week, but I actually prefer doing the live streams to talk to you guys and chill out on the weekend, and even post-match Saturdays and stuff like that as well. Or Friday night, if I finish work early enough, jump on a live stream to just see what how the game was, if there's interesting talking points, or should you take that VC that night, etc. So I'll be more involved this year in the off season than what I have been in the last 3 seasons. So yeah, I'm going to enjoy it, and I'll leave it there, and I'll catch you on the next one next weekend. Cheers. Thanks for watching the third and final for the week.